So you open up the box and you pull out your new oil pan. And it's going to look like this. And take your scissors and trim right along the edge. Alright, so when you get your pan all cut out, now you need to make the piece that fits inside. For this I'm going to be using a piece of Lexan, and this came off of the interior to a short course truck from Proline. And we just need a piece big enough for that to fit inside. So I'm going to go ahead and use this spot right here. Alright, so we have our plastic piece cut out. You just need it to fit down inside that little lip. And you can trim off as much of that as you want. It's all up to you. From here you have to make a decision. Are you going to mount with glue or screws? If you're going to be using screws, I'm recommending these Wraith body screws. And those are axial part number AXA0422. In this mounted one, you can see with the Wraith piece, you could easily get a screw in here, and probably there. You're not going to be able to mount in the back, but 4 would be plenty to hold it on. If you're wanting to go waterproof, I'm recommending E6000. Run a bead around the inside, clamp this together. I've found that these little paper clips work pretty awesome. So you glue it, paper clip it, come back when it's dry. As you can see, this one here is actually glued on with the E6000. And this pan is completely covered in the next video, which is on after this one. This is just a highlighter. Gives you an idea what's going to happen. If you don't understand, if it's not clear, stick around, watch the rest of it. It's going to be boring, but I cover everything that happened between basically here and here. Alright, let's get this oil pan mounted up on Old Blue. Got my oil pan, it's all trimmed up. This is what it's going to look like when it comes to you. And you're just going to take some scissors. I found these really nice Fiskars at Lowe's, and I find they do a fantastic job of cutting Lexan and plastic and all sorts of things that you shouldn't cut with scissors, including sheet metal. Fiskars makes an outstanding product, I might add. So you're going to get it like this, cut it out. You could use an X-Acto knife or the scissors, or the Lexan curved scissors, and get it to this point. Now this is where, if you have it laying around, alright, found my Lexan. So this is where you would take your sheet of 030 or 040, and you would lay this oil pan on top of it, and you're going to trace out around it and then cut inside your mark, and you want the piece to fit just inside this edge that I've provided. So you could go, you could probably even use a piece of ABS or plexiglass maybe if you were careful cutting it, but you add something rigid to that, and this is going to make this a lot stiffer, and it makes it a lot easier to mount, because if you're not putting it on a Wraith, it gives you a lot of surface area and possibilities. But not everybody has this. This is a $8 piece from the local hobby store. If you're in the Columbus area, I recommend you check out Tom Thumb. Tell him Speedweagand sent you. But we're not going to use the fancy piece of Lexan. I was doing some searching. I know Lexan's expensive. Not everybody has that. But what everybody does have access to is pretty much one of these. This is my Duke and Duchess Fuel Saver card. This is a spare one. I got a couple. You could use Kroger Plus card, Giant Eagle. I don't know what you have, where you are at. And I realize that some people are from around the world, so I'm not sure if they have these all over the world. But for sake of America, this is what we're going to use because these are free and Lexan is expensive. So we're going to start laying that out on there. That up over there. We're going to take our scissors, cut just inside the mark. Grab our curved Lexan scissors. Put the radius on there. It's going to be pretty close. So you can't just cut a curve, you say. Like, I just can't do that, right? So what you could do is then you want to find something laying around, like maybe this wheel wrench, and I think that would be a pretty feasible option. You could use the wheel wrench, take your Sharpie, trace yourself around there, and get yourself a nice a nice finish. I don't know which side is better. Oh, the side I did freehand is better. Alright, so it's a little too wide. Alright, so we're going to take our heavy ruler. You don't want to try to cut that in one pass. Kind of a real light pass, get your mark, and then more after that. That's coming right along. Alright, another option for doing your corners instead of using the Lexan scissors, you just need a piece of sandpaper. 80 grit, 240, 120, even a emery cloth. Or not emery cloth, emery file. A fingernail file, file board, I don't know what you call it in your world. Here we have a tongue depressor with some 80 grit wrapped around it. We're just going to fix up that edge. Alright. Alright, different ways that you can put this together. I am going to be using latex. This is Parma International, which happens to be the same people that are making the oil pans. That's, like, who in the hell is Parma? Parma are the people that make fast color, fast mask, the vinyl graphics, and all sorts of stuff in between. They have airbrushes and RC bodies and slot car stuff. So anyway, I'm going to be using this fast mask, and I'm just going to lay a bead around here and then smash that onto it, and then we're going to come back to that when it's dry. Alright, so why am I using latex? Well, because I'm not actually going to put the BEC in there right now for sake of just doing this video. So I need to get it back apart. Normally I would use E6000. Another option, and you don't even have to make this, but if you want to go in the water, I mean, you're going to have a bowl on the bottom of it that's always going to be full of water unless you put a drain hole in it. So to make this thing, you know, submergible, or even, you know, somewhat, you might even want to consider the drain hole if you're not putting anything in there. You could take this and drill a series of screws, you know, probably at least 6, and use the Wraith mounting screws, or the body mounting screws, the little tiny ones, and you can totally put this onto your I should really plan these things out better. You know, you could screw that right on there. Another option you have is, it's actually backwards. There we go. So that's going to be on there like that. If your Wraith has a very low ride height, this is going to have to slide back a little bit, and that's going to give you basically slide it back far enough so that it clears. Alright, let's glue this up. I have a bunch of tongue depressors. They're cheap. You can buy them in like a pack of 100. Problem with latex, you use a brush and it's the last time you're ever going to use it, pretty much no matter what. If you can wrap it in saran wrap or plastic real tight and keep it for a couple days if you're working on a project, so that you don't have to go through so many brushes. The beauty of the latex is it's not going to interact with the paint because it's waterproof or water based, so you don't have to worry about that. I like this side up, it adds style. Alright, now I just need to let that dry. Put the lid back on this. Alright, back for part 2. When I was taking it apart, it sort of pulled off some of my paint. And I'm not going to get really excited about it. It's on the bottom. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint this black, just so whatever you can kind of see through there, it'll just be dark. So we're going to run out to the garage, we're going to paint this black, and we obviously need to put a hole in here because we're putting the BC in there. So I'm going to go ahead and actually put the hole in there, and then I'm going to come back and show you what I did, but it makes a mess. We could cut it with an X-Acto knife or something, but we're not, because I've cut myself plenty of times, and we're not going to today. So I'm going to go paint. I don't need that. We're going to go paint this and put a hole in it, and I'll be right back. Alright, so we're back, and one of the things I did that I didn't show you beforehand was you're going to want to trace this before you go cutting your hole. So this is approximately where I need to be. Alright, so we're ready to get the BEC all set up. And one of the things I gotta do is I gotta solder a plug onto it. So I got my wires here, got my plug, and what I like to do is I like to offset the joint in case the two would try to get connected or something, or if the insulation was worn off, that way the solder joints aren't beside each other. Alright, so we got our solder joints, and here instead of using electrical tape, I like to use some liquid tape. Alright, just gotta let that dry. Okay, while it's drying, let's look at our painted piece. Pretty nice. The Duke card. It's some satin Rust-Oleum. So the hole, I use the Dremel and this here grindy cone bit. You just kind of go back and forth, makes nice round holes. Smells bad. You should probably do it outside or well ventilated area. I'm sure it's toxic. Throws little pieces off of it. You should probably consider wearing safety glasses, something to that order. Alright, so we let this dry, and there's a questionably thin area. So we're going to go ahead and take that and hit it with a little extra goo. Alright, back with the PEC. Got my black stuffs dry. I have to prep this here. They say if these wires wiggle too much that they'll break off the circuit board. Now, I've not had that happen personally, but that sounds like something that's feasible and easily prevented. So I'm going to bring this one down to here and take this one to the other end. I'm going to take our Super 33 electrical tape. The wire's nice and even. Alright, now we come along with the rubber glove. Take the middle one because it's the longest. You can also use different kinds of balloons, condoms, whatever you got. Put that down in there. Just going to clamp that for a second. Take another finger. Alright, there's stage 1 of our waterproofness. Alright, so the E6000's almost dry. On my little package here. So I have a packet of silica gel. And we're going to put that in there too. This is all preventative just in case some water should happen to make its way in. We want to know what's going to happen to it. I don't really want it moving around. I take this one, this foam. Alright, so this is what it looked like until I was content with it being firmly stuck together. These little paper clips work great. Alright, so we're going to mount this onto here. And I had to look at the instruction manual. This side is down on a stock one. And there's also a piece that's back here that I cut off. I haven't had the radio box in a long time. And because my ESC mounts to the top of this, pretty much like that, I'm going to flip this upside down. And before we glue it, we're going to grab the Wraith and just double check the mounting position, and then we'll get her glued up. So right at the edge is going to work perfect. Now we have to wait. Instructions say to let that set for a minute. I think it even says maybe put it on both sides. Sometimes I'm not real good with instructions. It says wait 2 to 10 minutes and press surfaces together after applying a thin coat to each surface. Yeah, I don't see it happening. But since I don't listen to their instructions, I do kind of slide it around a little bit and spread the glue out. I kind of don't trust the latex, I'll be honest. So we're going to take a little of this, put it around the edges here that are exposed. If you've never used E6000, I've just recently discovered it, and the tube says amazing, and it really is. I've been trying to exploit it for all sorts of things that it probably shouldn't be used for, and it works really well. I glued the paddles on with it, and it worked great for that. Worked better than the rims did. Alright. Alright guys, here is my finished part. Oh, I guess I'm not finished yet, I gotta fill in the hole. So for that, we have some duck seal. This is from Lowe's. It's called different things in different places. I've heard Gorilla Snot, Dum Dum, but it's made to seal off wiring in electrical boxes and stuff. So in the past I've tried using the E6000. I've also used the rubber electrical tape stuff, but for simplicity I was going to try this time. It definitely stays flexible. I'm a little concerned with it being a mess to get back off. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. I'll start by wrapping some around each wire. Alright, that should do it. Now I just have to mount it on the Wraith. But before that I got to put on my ESC. This is a step most of you guys aren't going to need to do. It depends on where you got your ESC mount. The blue tape's just to hold the wires out of the way until I can get it glued down, but you see that all the things have been removed from the sides. This is glued down and tidied up, and this is the pigtail for the BEC, and I got an extension on it to give you an idea how I roll.